Welcome to Zoe Stories. I tried her shoes. Now she calls me her little princess. I never thought trying her shoes could ruin my life or change it forever. It all started on a lazy Sunday afternoon, the kind where the sunlight pours lazily through half-open blinds, making the room glow in a warm, golden hue. I was slouched on the couch, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, trying to distract myself from the emptiness I always felt. At 19, life felt more like a waiting room than anything else. College was dull, my friends were busy with their own lives, and somehow I was always left behind, invisible, unnoticed. That was when she walked in, Sophie, my best friend's older sister, the woman who could command a room without even trying. She had this rare, magnetic presence, tall, confident, her long hair cascading perfectly over her shoulders. And that smile, the one that could make you feel both safe and terrified at the same time. "I didn't think anyone would be here," she said, her eyes scanning the living room before settling on me. Her voice was soft, yet carried authority. I was just waiting," I muttered, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. My stomach tightened under her gaze. Sophie smiled knowingly, like she already understood the storm she was about to unleash. She walked past me, her heels clicking softly on the floor. And then I saw them, her shoes, neatly lined up by the door. Not just any shoes, designer heels, delicate strappy sandals, and soft pastel pumps. They were beautiful, dangerous, tempting. "Do you want to try them?" she asked suddenly, tilting her head, her smile mischievous. My heart skipped a beat. I started, but she interrupted me with a laugh. "Oh, don't be shy. I just want to see how they'd look on you." Before I could protest, she had pulled out a pair of delicate pink heels. My hands trembled as I reached out to touch them, feeling the smooth leather under my fingers. Something in me, curiosity, fear, or a strange mix of excitement, pushed me to slip my feet inside. At first, it was awkward. The heels were too high, and I wobbled slightly, catching myself on the edge of the couch. Sophie's laughter was soft but sharp, cutting through me like a knife. "You're surprisingly good at this," she said, circling me like a predator admiring her prey. "You're pretty." I froze. My face flushed. The word felt electric, foreign and terrifying. "Pretty?" I stammered. "Yes," she purred, stepping closer. "You're beautiful. You have potential, you know that?" Before I could respond, she grabbed my wrists gently but firmly. "I think I can help you unlock it." I blinked, confused. "Help me? With what?" "Become this version of yourself," she said, gesturing to the heels, to the mirror across the room. "The one you've never dared to be." I laughed nervously, thinking she was joking, but the intensity in her eyes told me otherwise. There was something dangerous, manipulative about her smile. Something thrilling. "Why?" I whispered, my voice trembling. "Because you need it," she said softly. "And because I want to see it." That was the first step, the moment I realized I was no longer entirely in control. Sophie had a plan, though I couldn't yet understand it. She began to set the rules, subtle at first, mixing sweetness with a commanding tone that left no room for refusal. "First, you'll learn to walk," she instructed. "I'll show you." She pushed me toward the mirror. My reflection made me shiver. The pink heels, my loose jeans rolled up to my ankles, the slight tilt in my posture. Everything looked strange. But underneath the awkwardness, something else stirred, a tingling thrill that made my chest tighten. She stood behind me, correcting my posture, adjusting my hands on my hips. Yes, like that. Confident. Graceful. "Now sway a little." I tried, wobbling, almost toppling over. She laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "It's okay, little princess. You'll get it." The words hit me in a way I hadn't expected. Little princess? My cheeks burned. Part of me wanted to run, to escape, but another part shivered with anticipation. Then she brought out a dress, simple, pastel, yet impossibly delicate. My mind screamed, No, I can't, but her eyes held me in place. Just try it, she whispered. For me. For yourself. I did. And the moment the fabric touched my skin, I felt different. Vulnerable. Exposed. Alive. By the time she was done with my hair, makeup, and the full outfit, I barely recognized myself in the mirror. And yet, there was a strange satisfaction there, a thrill, a dangerous curiosity that made my heart pound. Sophie circled me like a predator again, her eyes filled with dark amusement. You're mine now, she said softly, leaning close so only I could hear. And I think you're going to like it. My stomach twisted with a mix of fear and excitement. I wanted to resist, to reclaim the boy I was yesterday. But the reflection staring back at me, the soft blush, the painted lips, the wide eyes, the delicate posture, it was seductive. First lesson, she whispered, brushing my cheek with her fingertips. You will learn to love this. Or you will learn to obey it. Either way, you'll never be the same. And at that moment, I realized I was already trapped. As I walked, unsteady, toward the front door in Sophie's shoes, I heard her laugh from behind me. Wait until the world sees you, little princess. Then we'll see how much you really enjoy being beautiful. I froze, heart hammering. The sunlight streaming through the door suddenly seemed too bright, too exposing. What have I done? I thought, and yet a tiny, guilty thrill whispered inside me. I can't wait to see. The next morning, I woke to a strange emptiness in my chest. The night before felt surreal. The way Sophie had made me slip into her heels, dress me up, and then call me her little princess haunted my thoughts. I told myself it was just a joke, a one-time game. Yet, every memory of her hands adjusting my posture, the brush of her fingers on my cheeks, made my pulse spike in ways I hadn't known possible. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my reflection in the small mirror across the room. Even in my pajamas, the memory of last night lingered. The soft blush, the painted lips, the delicate tilt of my head in her dress. I shouldn't feel like this, I muttered. But a part of me, a deep, secret part, ached to feel it again. Then came a knock at the door. I knew you'd be thinking about it. Sophie's voice purred from the other side. Come out, little princess. It's time to play my little game. I froze. My body tensed. Game? What does she mean by game? My mind raced, panic mixing with a thrill I didn't understand. She walked in anyway, uninvited, as if my hesitation meant nothing. Her presence filled the room instantly, commanding, intoxicating, and a little terrifying. She carried a small bag in her hand, the faint scent of her perfume curling around me like a trap. Sit, she instructed, pointing to the edge of my bed. I obeyed, my hands trembling slightly. Do you remember what we practiced yesterday? She asked, her eyes scanning me as if reading every thought I tried to hide. Yes, I whispered, barely audible. Good, she said, smiling softly, but we're not stopping there. Yesterday was just a teaser. Today we start for real. My stomach dropped. I don't understand. Her smile darkened, a mixture of amusement and something sharper, more dangerous. Of course you don't, little princess. But that's why I'm here. To help you understand yourself. And with that, she opened the bag. Inside were more outfits, skirts, delicate blouses, lace stockings, heels of every shape and color, and a small box of makeup that seemed to promise transformation itself. My throat went dry. You'll wear these, she said, pulling out a short, pastel pink skirt, and I'll teach you how to move, how to sit, how to speak. Step by step. And don't think this is optional. I swallowed hard. My voice failed me, my old self screaming to resist. But Sophie's gaze was hypnotic, unyielding, and I felt my knees weaken. Why are you doing this? I finally managed to ask, my voice shaking. Because you need it, she said softly. And because I enjoy seeing the real you emerge. The part of you that's always hidden, that wants to be noticed, to be admired, that wants to be beautiful. The words hit me like a shockwave. I had never thought of myself as anything remotely close to beautiful. And yet, Beneath the fear, a dangerous curiosity sparked. Sophie guided me to the mirror. Look at yourself, little princess. Really look. I hesitated, but when I met my reflection, I barely recognized myself. Yesterday's experience had already planted seeds of change. My shoulders felt smaller, my posture more delicate. The thought of putting on the skirt made my pulse race uncontrollably. She helped me dress, step by step, skirt, blouse, stockings, heels. Every movement was meticulous, every adjustment a reminder of her control. My reflection morphed in ways I didn't expect. My face, now framed by soft curls she styled herself, looked different. Softer, vulnerable, and undeniably alluring. See, she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. This is who you are beneath the surface. You like it, don't you? I swallowed hard. I didn't, and yet, the tiny spark of enjoyment couldn't be denied. My reflection smiled back at me, and for a moment, I felt guilty. The real test came when she made me walk around the room. Graceful, elegant. Like you own it, she instructed, positioning herself like a teacher correcting a student. I stumbled, wobbled, almost fell. Her laughter, soft but sharp, pierced my shame like a knife. You'll learn, she said, holding my hands for balance. Her touch sent shivers down my spine, blending embarrassment and something dangerously thrilling. Every time I looked into the mirror, she made me pose, sway, adjust my hips. The reflection staring back at me was a stranger, and yet a stranger I was beginning to feel connected to. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Each moment layered humiliation, curiosity, and an unnameable attraction. Sophie's control was absolute. She mixed kindness and cruelty, rewarding tiny victories with gentle praise and punishing mistakes with teasing remarks. You're clumsy, she said after I tripped slightly on the heels. But then, her lips curved, but you're my clumsy little princess, aren't you? The words struck deep. My heart pounded. My cheeks burned. My mind screamed, but a quiet, rebellious thrill whispered, maybe I am. By the afternoon, Sophie decided it was time for a public test. You're going out, she said. Just for a walk. The neighbors, the cafe, anyone might see you. And I want you to enjoy it. Enjoy it? I whispered, panic rising. Yes, she said, brushing my hair again, her eyes locking with mine. Feel beautiful. Let them notice. Let yourself feel this new power. I nodded weakly. My stomach twisted into knots, but I felt something else too. Anticipation, excitement, and a strange pride in how I looked. The mirror reflected a girl I barely recognized, yet one I couldn't stop looking at. As I stepped outside, the city felt sharper, brighter, more exposing than ever. Every glance from passers-by felt like a judgment and a thrill at the same time. And then I heard her voice in my head, soft and commanding. Remember, little princess, every eye that sees you is a reminder that you belong to me now. And you will learn to love it. I froze on the sidewalk, my pulse racing, unsure whether to run or to melt into the sensation of being watched, admired, and strangely controlled. The morning light was soft, spilling into my room through half-drawn curtains, but it felt harsher than usual. Every shadow seemed sharper, every corner of my room holding the memory of yesterday's transformation. The pink heels, the delicate dress, Sophie's teasing words, they all played on repeat in my mind. I told myself I could resist, that this was a one-time humiliation. But deep down, a small, unspoken part of me was aching to experience it again. Sophie entered without knocking, as usual, her presence filling the room instantly. She carried a delicate, floral dress in her hands, its fabric soft and almost luminescent. Today, she said, her voice soft yet commanding, we're going to meet your reflection. I froze. Meet my reflection? I asked, heart pounding. Yes, she replied, setting the dress gently on my bed. It's time you see yourself for who you really are. And maybe start to like her. My stomach twisted. Her? I whispered, panic rising. She smiled, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. Yes, little princess. Her. That's the girl inside you. The one you've been hiding even from yourself. I swallowed hard, every nerve in my body on edge. But before I could protest further, she guided me toward the mirror. The mirror, large, ornate, and unavoidable, reflected the faint sunlight onto my face, making the room glow unnaturally. Look, she whispered, stepping behind me and adjusting my shoulders. Really look. I did, and the sight made my chest tighten. The boy I had been yesterday was barely recognizable. The heels had changed the way I carried myself. The dress, or rather the thought of the dress, made my shoulders feel smaller, my posture delicate. My reflection wasn't the same awkward, timid boy anymore. It was feminine, vulnerable, beautiful. Sophie handed me the dress with a delicate smile. Try it on. My hands trembled as I took the fabric. The softness against my skin sent shivers down my spine. I wanted to refuse, to run, to hide in the familiar comfort of my male identity. But Sophie's eyes held me captive, a blend of command, amusement, and something darker, almost magnetic. Just for me, she whispered. And for yourself. I slipped into the dress. The soft fabric clung to my body in unfamiliar ways. My reflection shifted, and for the first time, I felt the twinge of curiosity, of excitement, and yes, shame all at once. Sophie circled me, her eyes gleaming. Beautiful, she said, almost reverently. Look at you, my little princess. The words were electric. I flushed. My lips parted, but no words came out. The reflection staring back at me wasn't just a stranger. It was a stranger I was beginning to understand, maybe even like. She made me sit in front of the mirror and began the makeup lesson. Every stroke was meticulous, every brush a reminder of her control. Eyes first, she instructed, guiding my hands gently. Soft, but expressive. Feminine. You're learning how to be seen. I obeyed, trembling. My fingers were clumsy, but she corrected them patiently, sometimes with a gentle touch, sometimes with a teasing tap on the wrist. Not bad, she said finally, leaning close so I could feel her breath on my neck. But your eyes, they need to speak. Speak like a girl who knows her power. Her words made my heart pound. Power? Me? The thought was absurd, yet intoxicating. Each stroke of mascara, each sweep of blush, made me feel less like the boy I was supposed to be and more like the girl she described. Next came the hair. She braided, curled, and pinned, all the while whispering instructions, corrections, and small, sharp remarks. You're stiff, she said, adjusting my posture. Loosen up, relax. Let the girl in you breathe. I tried, wobbling under the weight of the transformation. Each time I looked into the mirror, I saw a new version of myself, someone I couldn't name, yet couldn't ignore. My chest tightened with embarrassment, but also thrill. Then came the moment of walking in the full outfit. She guided me step by step, correcting my gait, making me sway, tilt my hips, adjust my posture. Every stumble was met with soft laughter and gentle correction. You're learning, she whispered. Soon, you won't even remember the boy you were. The words hit me harder than she realized. Soon, I won't even remember? Fear clawed at my chest, but underneath, a quiet, rebellious thrill whispered, maybe that's not so bad. The day progressed with lessons in speaking, posture, and public presence. Sophie made me practice my voice, softer, higher, more melodic. She corrected every misstep, praised every tiny success. You're pretty, she said casually one afternoon as we paused by the mirror. Pretty, delicate, beautiful. And soon everyone will see it too. Her gaze lingered, sharp and knowing. The words struck deeper than I expected. I felt a strange mix of shame, pride, and curiosity. Was this really me? Or was it the girl she was creating? By evening, Sophie declared it was time for the first public test. She handed me a small purse, adjusted my dress one last time, and smiled that dangerous, intoxicating smile. Step outside, little princess. The world is waiting, and so am I. I felt my pulse spike. The air outside was crisp, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows. Every passerby seemed like a threat and a thrill at once. I took a shaky step forward, then another. And then, someone familiar in the street caught sight of me and froze. Their eyes widened in recognition. I froze too, heart hammering. My reflection, my dress, my heels, everything that made me me, yesterday was gone. And now someone else knew. Every step I took in her heels made the world sharper, brighter, and terrifying. The first step outside was like stepping into another universe. The street was alive with sounds, cars honking, people chattering, distant music from a cafe down the road. The city felt bigger, louder, and somehow judging me. My heart hammered in my chest. My hands clutched the small purse Sophie had given me. "Relax," Sophie whispered behind me, her fingers brushing my shoulder. "Walk like you belong here. Like you own it." I tried. My legs shook. The heels dug slightly into my feet, uncomfortably tight, but impossibly elegant. Every wobble was met with a small laugh from her, soft, teasing, yet sharp enough to make my cheeks burn. "Little princess, sway your hips a bit more. You're stiff," she instructed, adjusting my posture. Her hands lingered just enough to make me acutely aware of her control. I did as she said, each sway making me hyper-conscious of my body, of how different I felt. The world had changed. The boy I had been yesterday, clumsy, timid, invisible, was gone. In his place stood someone new, uncertain, exposed, yet undeniably feminine. The first person to notice me was a man sitting at a cafe table, sipping his coffee. His eyes lingered for a moment too long, and I felt the flush rise to my cheeks. Sophie's hand tightened on my shoulder. "Feel it," she whispered. "That's the power. Every glance, every notice, it reminds you who you are now." I wanted to shrink, to disappear, but another part of me, the tiny, secret part one had never admitted existed, tingled with pride. Someone was seeing me not as a boy, not as invisible, but as a girl. Sophie guided me through the streets, correcting every misstep. Posture. Voice. Eyes. Smile. You must command attention without demanding it. We passed a group of college students. A couple of guys whispered, pointing subtly in my direction. My stomach twisted with embarrassment. Sophie laughed softly. "See? They notice. That's what I want. You're learning to be seen, to be admired, little princess." Every word was a mixture of control and seduction. My mind was a storm of conflicting emotions, humiliation, curiosity, pride, and fear. I stumbled slightly on the curb. She steadied me immediately, brushing my hair back. "You'll get it," she said softly. "Every day, you'll get better. And soon, the world will call you beautiful and you'll know it's true." Sophie led me to a small cafe with outdoor seating. "Sit," she instructed. "Order a drink. Speak. Act natural." I felt exposed, every passerby a potential judge. Sophie leaned close, whispering corrections as I struggled to emulate the feminine poise she demanded. "Voice," she reminded me. "Soft, sweet, light. Let it dance." My hands shook as I held the menu. My knees felt weak. Every glance from strangers made me shrink internally, yet a hidden thrill bubbled up. For the first time, I felt that strange, forbidden power of being noticed as a girl. Sophie sipped her coffee calmly, watching me like a queen observing her subject. "You're doing well, little princess. Really well." The praise should have comforted me, but instead it twisted inside me, a mixture of humiliation and satisfaction. Her words were addictive. I wanted her approval, desperately. A woman passing by paused for a second, her gaze scanning me from head to toe. My heart stopped. She frowned, muttered something under her breath, then walked on. I felt the sting of shame but also a tiny, inexplicable thrill. Sophie's hand rested on my lower back, grounding me. "See," she whispered. "Not everyone will understand, but some will see the beauty in you. That's enough for now." You're learning. Every word she spoke tightened her control over me. My embarrassment was palpable, but so was my growing curiosity. Who was I becoming? The boy I had been yesterday felt like a distant memory, fading with each step in these heels. Walking through the city, I felt my mind fracture into conflicting emotions. Shame for enjoying the attention. Fear of losing my identity. A strange thrill at being called beautiful, even silently by strangers. A desire to please Sophie, to earn her praise. My reflection in every window, every shiny surface, reinforced the transformation. The heels made my calves tense and elegant. The dress clung softly to my hips, and my painted lips and curled hair completed the image. Sophie's eyes followed me constantly, soft yet commanding. Every correction, every touch, every word was a reminder. She controlled this new reality, and I was learning to obey, and perhaps, secretly, to crave it. As we walked past a crowded intersection, I felt someone brush against me. A voice whispered, familiar yet distant, and my heart lurched. Is that him? I froze. The city felt too bright, too loud, too exposing. Sophie leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. Relax, little princess. If someone from your old life recognizes you, we'll handle it. But remember, you're mine now. I swallowed hard. My reflection in a shop window caught my eye, and for the first time, I doubted if I could ever go back. The days that followed were nothing like my old life. Every morning, I woke to Sophie's gentle yet commanding presence, a mixture of affection and control that had become my new reality. She guided me through outfits, makeup, and feminine behavior, and slowly but unmistakably, the boy I had been was slipping away. It started subtly. At home, my old routines were interrupted. My hoodie, my sneakers, my baggy jeans, all replaced by skirts, stockings, and delicate tops. My male privileges, the invisibility, the freedom to dress and act without scrutiny, were gone. Sophie had taken them all. Time to pick an outfit, she said one morning, holding a delicate lavender dress. Your old clothes? They're gone, little princess. Today, the world will see the real you. I stared at her, a mixture of panic and helplessness rising. Gone? They were mine. They were yours yesterday. Today, you belong to me, she said softly, yet her tone left no room for debate. And, trust me, you're better this way. I swallowed hard, my fingers brushing the fabric. Every thread felt like a shackle tying me to her world, a world I was learning to navigate with trembling steps. The real test came when we ventured to meet my friends. Walking into the cafe, heels clicking against the floor, I felt every eye on me. Whispers trailed behind me as I approached the table. Who is that? One friend asked, blinking in confusion. My heart sank. This wasn't a playful disguise anymore. My identity was shifting in front of everyone I knew. Sophie leaned close to me, her lips brushing my ear. Remember, little princess, every glance reinforces the lesson. You're learning your new place. I sat down, stiff and unsure. My friends exchanged confused looks, some smirking, some whispering. I felt the sting of humiliation. My old male privileges, the easy confidence I had once taken for granted, were gone. Sophie began assigning daily tasks that reinforced my feminized identity. Ordering drinks in cafes with a soft, melodic voice. Using my full name as a girl she had chosen for me. Walking, sitting, and gesturing like a delicate young woman. Complimenting others in a high-pitched, sweet tone. Each task stripped away another layer of my former self. Each correction, each small praise from Sophie, carved a deeper connection to this new identity. You're improving, she said one evening as she adjusted my blouse. Every day, you're becoming more beautiful. More like the little princess you're meant to be. I flushed. Her praise should have comforted me, but instead, it was addictive. I wanted to please her, desperately, even as part of me screamed in resistance. One afternoon, Sophie decided it was time for a more challenging test. She took me to a busy shopping mall, heels clicking on the polished floor, dress swaying with every step. My face burned with embarrassment as strangers, some curious, some judgmental, stared at me. You'll walk past everyone like you belong, Sophie instructed. Smile if they notice. Let them see the little princess I've made. I obeyed, each step a battle between fear and a strange thrill. Whispers followed me. A group of teenagers laughed softly, pointing at my delicate heels. My stomach twisted in humiliation, yet Sophie's soft touch on my arm grounded me, reminded me that I was hers, and somehow, that was comforting. By the time we left, I felt stripped of every privilege I had once held as a boy. I couldn't walk into a cafe without being seen. I couldn't dress casually without scrutiny. My old life was fading, and every day, Sophie's control tightened, guiding me further into femininity. That evening, alone in my room after a long day of walking, speaking, and behaving like the little princess Sophie demanded, I collapsed onto my bed. Tears blurred my vision as I stared at my reflection in the mirror. Who was I? The reflection showed a delicate girl, the soft curves of my body highlighted by the dress, my painted lips slightly parted, eyes wide and shimmering. And yet, somewhere deep inside, a boy I barely recognized screamed for control. Sophie entered quietly, sitting beside me. She brushed my hair away from my face and whispered, "It's okay, little princess. You're learning. You're becoming beautiful, and one day you'll thank me." I shook my head, tears falling freely. I don't even know who I am anymore." "You are her," she said firmly, her hand resting on mine. "And soon, everyone else will see her too. That's the point. You're meant to be seen, to be admired, to be mine." Her words sank deep into me. I felt trapped, humiliated, and strangely addicted to her praise. Every piece of my former self was slipping away, replaced by someone I didn't yet fully understand, someone I was starting to fear and perhaps desire. That night, as I lay in bed, Sophie's words echoed in my mind. "Little princess, tomorrow we'll see how much the world can notice you and how much you enjoy it." I shivered, torn between terror and anticipation. My reflection in the mirror seemed to smirk at me, a reminder that the boy I had been was fading. And deep down, I wondered, would I ever want him back? The morning sun pierced through my curtains, but instead of comfort, it brought dread. Today, Sophia decided I would face the public in full feminine attire, heels, stockings, skirt, blouse, and makeup perfected to her exacting standards. She had whispered last night, "Today, little princess, the world will notice you, and you will learn what it feels like to be seen." I tried to deny it, to tell myself I wasn't ready. But Sophie's presence was magnetic, unyielding. Her hand on my shoulder, guiding me to the wardrobe, reminded me that resistance wasn't an option. "Choose something beautiful," she said, her eyes glinting with amusement. "Something that will make everyone stop and look." I hesitated, but her smile left no room for argument. I picked a soft pastel dress she had laid out, feeling the silky fabric against my trembling fingers. Every piece of clothing, every accessory, every brushstroke of makeup she had applied yesterday had already begun reshaping my identity. Stepping outside, the air hit my face, crisp and exposing. Every heel clicked sharply against the pavement, each sound a reminder of my new visibility. Sophie walked slightly behind me, correcting my posture, adjusting my hair with subtle touches that made my pulse spike. "Remember, little princess," she whispered, "confidence is everything. Walk like you belong here, and let them see you." I tried. Each step felt like balancing on a tightrope. The mall loomed ahead, a place filled with people, eyes, and inevitable judgment. My stomach churned as we approached the entrance. Inside, the mall was alive with shoppers, laughter, and the soft hum of music. I felt every gaze before I even noticed it. Some were subtle, curious. Others were blatant, judgmental. I tried to ignore them, but the heat rising in my cheeks betrayed me. A group of teenagers passed by, giggling and whispering. "Look at her heels," one whispered. My heart sank, yet Sophie's soft hand on my back steadied me. You see, she said, her voice low and teasing. They notice. That's exactly what I want. Every glance is part of your lesson. You're learning to be seen, little princess. I wanted to disappear, yet another, more secret part of me. The part Sophie had awakened, thrilled at the attention. Every whisper, every stare, made my heart pound in ways I hadn't known possible. Sophie guided me to a cafe with outdoor seating, one of the busiest spots in the mall. Sit, she commanded softly, adjusting my dress. Order a drink.
Speak.
Smile. Let them notice. I felt exposed, every patron's gaze burning into me. As I opened my mouth to speak, my voice trembled, too high, too soft, too feminine. Sophie leaned close, whispering corrections. Lighten your tone, tilt your chin slightly, yes, like that. I obeyed, my entire body tense, aware of every movement. When the waitress finally delivered my order, Sophie's approving glance sent a shiver of thrill down my spine. Her control was absolute, and her praise was addictive. As I walked past a reflective shop window, I caught my reflection. My heart skipped a beat. The girl in the window stared back at me, delicate, painted, poised, yet utterly me. And yet, I didn't fully recognize her. Sophie's whisper cut through my thoughts. See, little princess? This is who you are now. The world sees it, I see it, and soon you'll even see it yourself. My chest tightened. Shame, humiliation, excitement, and a strange longing all tangled into one overwhelming sensation. I wanted to flee, but also wanted to linger, to be seen, to prove her right. As we passed a clothing store, a familiar voice stopped me cold. Is that him? My heart lurched. Someone from my old life had recognized me. Panic surged. What if they knew? What if they told someone else? Sophie stepped closer, her hand brushing mine lightly. Relax, little princess, she whispered. We'll handle this. But remember, this is your world now. You're mine, and you'll learn to love it. I forced a nod, but inside, fear and excitement warred in equal measure. My identity, already fragile, seemed to shatter and reform with every step. She led me to a small fountain in the center of the mall. Sit, she said, her eyes scanning me like a hawk. Now, cross your legs. Be graceful. I obeyed, every movement deliberate, yet trembling. People stared. Whispers floated through the air. My face burned. My pulse raced. Every glance, every judgmental whisper, felt like a knife slicing away my old self. Sophie circled me, smiling with satisfaction. You're learning, little princess. You're becoming someone new. And soon, everyone will see it, and maybe you'll even start to see it yourself. As we prepared to leave the mall, Sophie leaned close to my ear. Tomorrow, little princess, we push further. The next step will show the world exactly who you are. And there will be no turning back. I froze, heart pounding. My reflection in the glass doors stared back at me, delicate, beautiful, and utterly unfamiliar. A storm of fear, shame, desire, and curiosity churned inside me. I realized then that the girl in the mirror was already beginning to replace the boy I had been. And deep down, a tiny, forbidden voice whispered, maybe I don't want him back. It started with a smile, and suddenly, I wasn't sure if it was her control I wanted or someone else noticing me. After the mall incident, I felt raw. Every glance, every whisper, every step in Sophie's heels had stripped away layers of my old self, leaving me exposed and fragile. But that fragility brought a new awareness, a deep, unspoken desire for connection. Someone who would see me not just as a spectacle, but as a person. Sophie noticed immediately. You've changed, she said one evening as she adjusted my blouse. And you're learning. But don't forget, little princesses need attention. They crave it. I nodded, but my mind wandered. It wasn't just Sophie's attention I craved. It was someone else noticing me in my new form, someone acknowledging the girl I was becoming. A few days later, Sophie decided to take me to a quiet cafe near the park. The sun streamed through the windows, and the scent of coffee and pastries filled the air. I felt exposed, delicate, yet alive in a way I hadn't before. As we waited for our drinks, a boy my age approached the table. He had a kind face, eyes curious yet gentle. "Hi, I just wanted to say you look really nice," he said, a faint blush on his cheeks. I froze, unsure how to respond. Sophie's gaze lingered, amused, yet commanding. "Say thank you," she whispered. "I thank you," I murmured, my voice soft and melodic, trembling under his gaze. He smiled, friendly and unthreatening. "I'm Alex," he said. "I don't usually approach people like this, but you just seemed different. Beautiful, I guess." The word beautiful made my chest tighten. It wasn't Sophie who said it. It was someone from outside her world, someone who didn't see me as a toy or a lesson. Walking home later, my mind was a storm. Alex's kindness had stirred something dangerous inside me. Was I enjoying being admired by someone else? Sophie, of course, noticed my distraction immediately. "Thinking about him?" she asked, her tone a mixture of curiosity and warning. I tried to hide it, but she saw through me. Little princesses shouldn't be distracted. They should be obedient, and yours truly, remember? Her hand on my shoulder sent a shiver down my spine. I nodded, my mind conflicted. I was torn between the thrill of pleasing Sophie and the innocent warmth I felt from Alex. The emotions swirled, confusing, intoxicating, and frightening. That night, Sophie decided it was time for a private lesson. She guided me to my room, her eyes gleaming. "You've been thinking about him, haven't you?" she whispered. I couldn't deny it. My cheeks flushed. "Good," she said, smiling, a dangerous softness in her eyes. "Curiosity is natural. But remember, he sees the surface. I see the depths, little princess. And I control them." Her hands adjusted my hair, my dress, my posture. Every touch reminded me of my vulnerability, my obedience, and the strange pleasure in her dominance. My pulse raced, my breath quickened. I realized that my attraction to Sophie's control was growing alongside my desire to be seen by someone like Alex. Later, alone, I stood before the mirror. The girl staring back at me was no longer just a disguise. She was real. The blush on her cheeks, the soft curls framing her face, the way the dress clung to her curves, all undeniable. I whispered to myself, barely audible, Who am I?" The question had no answer. The girl in the mirror was both mine and not mine, shaped by Sophie's control, noticed by Alex, and slowly, terrifyingly becoming me. The next day, Sophie decided it was time for a social gathering. She told me, "Little princess, tomorrow, you'll meet people who know nothing about you. And you'll see if your new self can survive outside my guidance." I shivered. My heart raced. Alex's face flashed in my mind, the warmth of his smile mingling with the fear of public exposure. As I looked into the mirror that night, I realized the girl I was becoming wasn't just about Sophie's control anymore. She was becoming a person, a being with desires, feelings, and fears I hadn't anticipated. And deep down, I wondered, would I ever be able to escape this web? Or had I already lost myself completely? Every step outside felt like walking on a tightrope over a pit of judgment, and yet I couldn't stop stepping. The morning sunlight poured into my room, highlighting every curve of the dress Sophie had chosen for me. My heels rested neatly beside the bed, their soft pink straps gleaming. Today wasn't just another mall or cafe outing. Sophie had announced a public gathering at the city square, a place filled with strangers, friends of friends, and the kind of attention I had never experienced before. My stomach twisted with dread. Every fiber of my being screamed to stay hidden, to retreat into my old identity. But Sophie's presence was magnetic. Her soft but commanding voice cut through my panic. "Little princess," she said, brushing a strand of hair from my face, "today, everyone will see you. And you will learn that being noticed is part of your power." I swallowed hard. Her words should have reassured me, but instead, they ignited a storm of fear and excitement inside me. The city square was bustling. Street performers played music, children ran past, and couples strolled hand in hand. Every step I took in heels felt deliberate, exaggerated, every sway of my hips a reminder that I was now highly visible. Sophie followed behind, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Remember, little princess, posture, grace, confidence. Let them see you, and make them wonder. I nodded, heart pounding. My reflection in shop windows along the way was a constant reminder. The boy I had been was slipping further away. Each glance from strangers reinforced my new feminine identity, leaving the old me feeling fragile, distant, almost non-existent. A group of young men passing by paused, their eyes lingering longer than normal. I felt my cheeks heat up, my pulse racing. The whispers were faint but unmistakable. Sophie's hand brushed my back, grounding me. "See," she whispered. "They notice. That's power. Every gaze, every murmur, it belongs to you now." I wanted to shrink, to disappear, yet a strange thrill surged. The attention, humiliating and intoxicating, was addictive. Being seen, being admired, even subtly, stirred feelings I had never known. As we moved through the square, a familiar voice called out, "Wait, is that him?" I froze. My heart hammered. Someone from my old life, a former classmate, had recognized me. Panic surged. What if they told someone else? What if they laughed? Sophie leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. "Relax, little princess. If someone from your past notices, let them. You're stronger than you think. And remember, they only see what I've made you to be." I swallowed hard. Fear and exhilaration wove together in a dizzying mix. My reflection in a store window caught my eye, and I realized with a jolt that the girl staring back was completely foreign, yet undeniably me. Sophie guided me toward a group of people she knew from the art community. "Talk to them," she instructed. "Laugh, smile, show them you belong here. Be feminine, be polite, be irresistible." I stepped forward, my voice soft and melodic, hands clasped delicately in front of me. Every laugh felt forced, yet strangely genuine. Every smile trembled with uncertainty, but it also carried a hint of new confidence. One of the women complimented my dress. "It looks beautiful on you." My cheeks flushed violently. Sophie's approving glance behind me made my chest tighten with pleasure and humiliation simultaneously. As I passed a fountain, the water reflected my image. I caught a glimpse of myself from a different angle, the curve of my waist, the softness of my hair, the painted lips that trembled slightly. The girl in the reflection wasn't just a disguise anymore. She was real, public, undeniable. Sophie's whisper cut through the moment. "See, little princess? You're not hiding anymore. You're visible and the world will remember you." I shivered. Her words, soft and commanding, reinforced both her control over me and my growing attachment to this new identity. The climax came unexpectedly. A group of teenage boys near the fountain started laughing loudly, pointing at me in a teasing, mocking way. My heart pounded. I felt my cheeks burn, my knees weaken. Sophie immediately stepped closer, adjusting my dress, her hand firm on my back. "Ignore them," she instructed softly. "Little princesses rise above petty eyes. Remember who you are and who you're becoming." I tried to comply, but the shame bubbled up uncontrollably. Tears blurred my vision as I struggled to maintain composure. The humiliation of being mocked, of being visible, collided with the thrill of being noticed, creating an emotional storm that left me breathless. Sophie guided me to a nearby bench, whispering calming words, brushing my hair from my tear-streaked face. "See," she murmured, "even in the face of ridicule, you're beautiful. You're mine, and you're learning." As the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the square, Sophie whispered something that made my chest tighten. "Tomorrow, little princess, you'll face your ultimate test. Someone from your past will confront you, and you'll have to decide who you want to be." I froze, heart hammering. My reflection in the fountain water shimmered, delicate, beautiful, and terrifyingly real. The girl I had become was no longer just Sophie's creation. She was me, inescapable and undeniable. I thought the past was gone, but it had been waiting, and now it had found me. The morning air was crisp, carrying the distant sounds of the city waking up. Sophie had chosen a new outfit for me, a soft pink dress with delicate lace, paired with her favorite pair of heels. She lingered over my makeup, smoothing every line, brushing each curl into place. "Little princess," she said, her voice gentle but commanding. "Today is important. Someone from your old life might see you, and you must decide who you are." I nodded silently, a tight knot of fear twisting in my stomach. My reflection in the mirror looked fragile, delicate, beautiful, and utterly foreign. The boy I had been seemed like a distant memory, fading further with every touch of Sophie's hands. Sophie led me to the city park, a place I had frequented with friends before my transformation. Everything seemed familiar, yet somehow different. The pathways, the benches, the fountain, all now framed by the girl I had become, walking boldly in heels and a flowing dress. I noticed a few people glancing my way. Some smiled, some whispered. My pulse quickened. Sophie's hand rested lightly on my back, a constant reminder of her control and my vulnerability. "Remember, little princess," she whispered, "confidence is key. Stand tall. Smile. Let them see you." I nodded, swallowing hard. Every step felt like walking on glass, fragile, dangerous, thrilling. A familiar voice called out from behind a cluster of trees. "Wait, is that you?" I froze. My heart raced uncontrollably. I turned slowly, and there he was, my best friend from school, someone who had known me intimately before my transformation. His eyes widened, then narrowed, a mixture of disbelief and recognition. "Oh my wow," he muttered, almost to himself. I don't even." I felt my cheeks burn, every nerve on fire. Sophie's hand tightened slightly on my shoulder. "Little princess," she whispered, "this is your test. Remember who you are now." The encounter triggered a whirlwind of emotions. Shame, fear, and a strange thrill surged simultaneously. My friend's gaze was piercing, searching for the boy he once knew, and finding only the girl I had become. "Do you remember me?" he asked, his voice hesitant. I nodded, unsure how to respond. The words that came out were soft, melodic, tremulous. "Yes, I remember." Sophie's presence loomed behind me, grounding me. "Little princess, speak clearly. Show him who you are now." I straightened my posture, raised my chin, and whispered, "I'm her now. I'm me." My friend's reaction was a mixture of confusion, curiosity, and disbelief. He stepped closer, studying my face, my dress, my delicate posture. I could feel the weight of my new identity crashing down, and tears threatened to spill. Sophie noticed immediately. She brushed my hair from my face, whispering, "It's okay, little princess. Let them see. Let them know. And remember, this is your choice." I closed my eyes, breathing heavily. Shame, humiliation, and a hidden thrill mingled together. I was exposed, vulnerable, yet there was a part of me that enjoyed being seen, that craved the acknowledgement of this new identity. My friend hesitated, then smiled softly. "You will look beautiful. I mean, really beautiful." I didn't expect. His words cut through the storm in my mind. It wasn't Sophie saying it. It wasn't praise laced with control. It was genuine, innocent admiration. My chest tightened. Sophie leaned close, whispering softly, almost as a reminder. "Remember, little princess, some will see the surface. I see the depths, and I shape them." I felt a mixture of humiliation and warmth, the lines between fear, desire, and identity blurring further. Later, sitting alone on a park bench, I stared at my reflection in the water. The girl staring back was no longer just a product of Sophie's control. She was real, public, undeniable. The boy I had been seemed like a ghost, fading with every glance, every whisper, every step. Tears filled my eyes. I didn't know whether I wanted to cry from shame, fear, or the strange thrill of attention. Sophie's lessons, Alex's kindness, my friend's recognition, all merged into a complex web I couldn't untangle. As the sun began to set, Sophie approached and whispered in my ear. Tomorrow, little princess, you'll face a new challenge. Someone important will see you, and you'll have to decide if you want to fight for your old self or fully embrace her. I shivered, heart hammering. The reflection in the pond shimmered with the fading light, delicate, beautiful, and terrifyingly real. The girl I had become was no longer a disguise. She was me, and every choice from now on would shape whether I could ever return to the boy I had been. Every eye in the room seemed to pierce through me, and I had no choice but to stand exposed. Sophie woke me early, the sunlight spilling into my room like a warning. Today was no casual outing. She had arranged a gathering at a high-end social event where friends, acquaintances, and strangers would scrutinize me. Little princess, she whispered, brushing a curl behind my ear. Today, you'll be truly seen, and everyone will know you belong in this world, as her. My stomach twisted with a mix of dread and anticipation. The heels, the dress, the carefully applied makeup, all felt like armor, yet also like chains. I couldn't hide, couldn't retreat. Every step was under scrutiny, and I knew Sophie's eyes would catch every falter. The venue was magnificent, chandeliers casting glittering light over a crowd of impeccably dressed people. Music filled the air, soft but penetrating, and the chatter of polite conversations surrounded us. I felt exposed before I even stepped inside. Sophie's hand rested lightly on my back. Stand tall, little princess. Let them see you. Smiled gracefully. I nodded, heart racing. My reflection in the large glass door showed a delicate girl, poised, beautiful, trembling slightly under the weight of expectation. As we entered, several heads turned. Murmurs floated through the crowd, whispers of admiration and curiosity. I felt a tingling mix of fear and exhilaration. Every glance, every whispered comment, stripped away remnants of the boy I had been. One woman leaned in toward her friend, whispering, "She's stunning. Absolutely stunning." My chest tightened. It wasn't Sophie saying it. It was strangers, people who only saw the girl I had become. Part of me burned with embarrassment, yet another part thrived on the attention, intoxicating and terrifying at once. Sophie guided me to a small gathering circle. "Little princess," she said softly, "introduce yourself. Let them see you. Speak clearly, confidently, and show them who you are now." I stepped forward, heels clicking against the polished floor. Every sound echoed in my chest. I opened my mouth, my voice soft, melodic, trembling. Hello, my name is Lily," I whispered. Murmurs of approval followed. Some eyes widened in admiration. Others lingered, studying me intently. Every moment was a lesson in exposure, in femininity, in control. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared at the edge of the crowd, someone I hadn't seen in years. Recognition hit me like a thunderclap. My heart pounded, palms sweaty. Sophie leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. "Do you see? This is your moment. Stand tall. Be proud. Let them know she is real." I nodded, trying to suppress a shiver. Every glance from the crowd felt like a mirror of my identity, reflecting the delicate, feminine self Sophie had sculpted. And every whisper, every stare, pulled me further into her world. As the evening wore on, the mingling, the stares, the polite compliments, everything collided into a whirlwind inside me. Shame, humiliation, pride, desire, all tangled in a confusing storm. Sophie noticed immediately, guiding me to a quiet corner. "Little princess, breathe," she whispered. "Let the world see her and let yourself feel it." Tears threatened to spill, a mixture of embarrassment and strange exhilaration. The girl in the mirror, the girl everyone saw, she was becoming undeniable, consuming the boy I had been. As the event drew to a close, Sophie whispered, "Tomorrow, you will face the ultimate choice. Someone important will challenge everything, and you'll have to decide who you truly want to be." I froze, chest tight, heart hammering. My reflection in the hall's glass shimmered, delicate, beautiful, terrifyingly real. The girl I had become was no longer a disguise. She was me, and deep inside, a whisper surfaced. Maybe I don't want to go back. Every glance, every touch, felt like fire against my fragile new self, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to resist or surrender. The morning light filtered through my curtains, soft and innocent, yet it carried an unspoken promise of what Sophie had planned. Today's lesson would push me further, not just in public exposure, but in temptation, desire, and emotional surrender. Sophie entered, carrying a tray with breakfast, her eyes gleaming. "Little princess," she said, voice warm but commanding, "today you will learn about allure, about the power of being irresistible. And I will guide you every step of the way." My pulse quickened. The thought of stepping further into femininity, of being seen as desirable, not just delicate or obedient, made my chest tighten with a mix of fear and anticipation. Sophie had laid out a new ensemble, a soft, flowing blouse paired with a fitted skirt that emphasized the curve of my hips, complemented by sheer stockings and slightly higher heels than usual. She approached, brushing a curl from my face and adjusting my posture. "Little princess," she whispered, "every movement, every glance, every gesture must speak of elegance and subtle desire. Let them notice and learn to crave your presence." Her hands lingered briefly, sending shivers down my spine. I tried to suppress the tremor, but it was impossible. The intensity of her control, combined with the anticipation of being seen, made my body respond in ways I hadn't expected. Sophie guided me to the park, a place familiar, yet now fraught with new meaning. Today, there were more people, joggers, parents with strollers, friends meeting for coffee. Each step in my heels, each sway of my hips, each delicate motion of my hands became a lesson in allure. "Notice them noticing you," Sophie whispered. "The way their eyes follow, the way they hesitate before speaking. That hesitation is power." My heart raced with embarrassment and a forbidden thrill. I felt exposed, yet empowered. Every glance a reminder that I was becoming someone entirely new, delicate, visible, desirable. As we passed a small fountain, Alex appeared again. His eyes widened as he saw me, and a faint blush colored his cheeks. You look amazing," he said, voice soft. I can't believe it's you." The words made my chest tighten. This was not Sophie's control, not a lesson forced upon me. This was genuine admiration, desire even, from someone outside her world. I felt my knees weaken slightly, my heart pounding, my pulse racing. Sophie's hand on my back reminded me, obedience first, pleasure second. She leaned close and whispered, "See? You can command attention and still belong to me." As we walked together, Alex talking about mundane things, school, shared memories, music, I felt an unexpected emotional bond. Part of me wanted to laugh, to enjoy, to feel like the girl he admired. Another part, Sophie's part, reminded me that every thrill, every blush, every heartbeat was under her control. The tension inside me was unbearable. Desire, fear, embarrassment, and the intoxicating power of being admired collided in a storm I couldn't untangle. Later, Sophie guided me to a quiet bench. She instructed me to sit, cross my legs gracefully, and lift my chin. My reflection in the nearby window caught my eye. The girl staring back was delicate, poised, and undeniably seductive in a subtle, innocent way. Sophie's whisper, "Little princess, see how they notice you? Feel it. Every glance, every thought they have about you, it is power." The realization hit me hard. My femininity had become a weapon and a temptation. I felt both embarrassed and exhilarated. Every touch of Sophie's hand, every adjustment of my hair, reinforced the fact that I was being shaped into someone both beautiful and desirable. As the sun began to set, Sophie's eyes glinted with mischief and authority. "Tomorrow, little princess, you'll face someone who challenges everything. Desire, fear, identity, all will collide. And you'll have to decide what truly belongs to you." I froze, heart racing. My reflection shimmered in the fading light, delicate, beautiful, and terrifyingly irresistible. The girl I had become was no longer a disguise. She was real, and the storm of desire, exposure, and emotional conflict was only beginning. The closer I got to the truth of who I had become, the more impossible it felt to choose between the past I knew and the girl I was becoming. The morning light spilled through the curtains like a warning. Sophie entered my room, holding a new outfit, a flowing, elegant dress in soft lavender, paired with matching heels. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of pride and authority. "Little princess," she whispered, "today is the day you'll face everything. Your past, your desires, your fears, and you must decide who you truly want to be." My chest tightened. Every fiber of my being screamed with uncertainty. The boy I had been felt distant, fragile, fading with each passing day. The girl in the mirror, shaped by Sophie's hands, adored by Alex, admired in public, she was real, undeniable, consuming me. I stood before the mirror, tracing the line of my jaw, the curve of my waist, the softness of my hair. The reflection was intoxicating, beautiful, terrifying. Sophie's voice broke through my thoughts. "Little princess, remember, no matter what happens today, she is strong. She is visible, and she can survive whatever comes." I nodded, swallowing hard. Fear, excitement, and a strange thrill coiled together. Every adjustment of my hair, every flick of eyeliner, every sway of the dress felt like reinforcement of a new identity, yet the weight of choice pressed down on me. Sophie led me to a quiet garden cafe, a place where my old friends and acquaintances often met. As we entered, a familiar voice rang out. "Is that really you?" I froze. My best friend from before, someone who had known me intimately, stood there, eyes wide in disbelief. My heart hammered. "Yes, it's me," I whispered, voice soft, melodic. He stepped closer, studying me, tracing the girl I had become with his eyes. I don't even know what to say. "You will look different." "Amazing." Sophie's hand rested lightly on my back, grounding me. "Little princess," she whispered, "this is your test. Show them who you are now." His admiration stirred a storm inside me. Shame, fear, excitement, and desire collided. Part of me wanted to flee, to cling to the boy I had been. Another part, the girl Sophie had shaped, wanted to stand tall, be admired, and embrace her power. Alex's words from days before echoed in my mind. "You look amazing. I can't believe it's you." Sophie leaned close, brushing my hair from my face. "Little princess, every glance, every thought they have belongs to you now, and only you can decide what to keep." I shivered. The weight of choice pressed down, a terrifying yet thrilling burden. Later, as I passed a reflective window, my image caught my eye. The girl in the glass was poised, delicate, undeniably beautiful. But her eyes held a storm, fear, doubt, and the desire to be free yet cherished. I whispered to myself, Who am I really?" No answer came. The reflection was both mine and not mine. The boy I had been seemed like a ghost. The girl I had become fully alive. The cafe was quiet now, the golden sunlight casting long shadows. My friend, Alex, and Sophie all watched me, silently, expectantly. I felt every heartbeat, every breath, every trembling inch of my body. Tears threatened. The shame of leaving my old identity, the thrill of being admired, the intoxicating pull of Sophie's control, all collided. I didn't know which part of me to honor, which to reject. Sophie whispered softly, "Little princess, the choice is yours. Fight for the boy you were, or embrace the girl you've become. But remember, once chosen, there's no turning back." I closed my eyes, heart racing, breath shallow. Every moment, every glance, every whispered word pressed me closer to the ultimate decision. The reflection shimmered in the cafe window, delicate, beautiful, and terrifyingly real. I realized with a jolt, whichever choice I make, nothing will ever be the same. And deep inside, a whisper surfaced. Maybe, I don't want to go back. Every heartbeat screamed with fear and longing. Every breath carried the weight of who I was and who I could become. The morning was unusually quiet, the sunlight soft but almost cruel in its clarity. Sophie entered my room, carrying a delicate lavender dress, the final outfit she had chosen for me. Her eyes gleamed with pride and authority. "Little princess," she whispered, brushing a curl from my face, "today you will choose. Everything, your past, your desires, your identity, comes to a crossroads. And you must decide who you truly are." My chest tightened. The boy I had been felt like a distant memory, fading with each passing day. The girl in the mirror, shaped by Sophie, admired by Alex, observed by my friend, she was real, undeniable, consuming me. I stood before the mirror, tracing my jawline, the curve of my waist, the softness of my hair. The reflection was intoxicating, beautiful, and terrifying. Sophie's voice cut through my thoughts. "Little princess, remember, no matter what happens today, she is strong. She is visible, and she can survive whatever comes." I nodded, swallowing hard. Fear, excitement, and a strange thrill coiled together. Every adjustment of my hair, every flick of eyeliner, every sway of the dress felt like reinforcement of a new identity, yet the weight of choice pressed down on me. Sophie led me to a secluded part of the city park. There Alex and my best friend waited. Their eyes were filled with a mixture of curiosity, concern, and admiration. Every step I took toward them made my heart race. "Little princess," Sophie whispered, "now you must show them who you are.
Speak. Feel.
Decide." My friend's eyes were fixed on me. The girl I had become was visible, real, undeniable. My chest tightened with fear, longing, and anticipation. Tears threatened to spill. Shame, fear, excitement, and desire collided within me. Part of me wanted to flee, to cling to the boy I had been. Another part, the girl Sophie had shaped, wanted to stand tall, be admired, and embrace her power. Sophie stepped closer, her hand on my shoulder, whispering, "Little princess, it's time. Choose who you are. And remember, no one can take her away from you once you decide." My voice trembled as I whispered, I don't know who I am anymore." Alex reached out, gently touching my hand. You're amazing. Whoever you choose. I just want you to be happy." I looked down at my hands, the delicate nails painted perfectly, the softness of my skin, the curve of my wrist. Every inch of me screamed of Sophie's influence, yet also of my own growing identity. Memories of the boy I had been flashed through my mind, the safety, the normalcy, the familiar comfort. But the thrill, the attention, the empowerment of being the girl I had become, it was intoxicating, addictive, undeniable. I closed my eyes, feeling tears stream down my cheeks. The choice was no longer about Sophie, or Alex, or anyone else. It was about me. I opened my eyes slowly, heart hammering, chest tight. My reflection shimmered in the pond nearby, delicate, beautiful, terrifyingly real. Every glance from my friends, every whisper from Sophie, every beat of my own heart pressed the truth into me. The girl I had become was not just a disguise.
She was me.
Sophie's hand on my shoulder was firm, yet gentle. "Little princess, you can embrace her, or run back to who you were. But remember, the moment you decide, there's no turning back." I took a deep breath, feeling every tremor in my body, every pulse of my heart. And then, I whispered, voice soft but unwavering, I am her. I am Lily." The tension lifted slightly, replaced by a strange calm. Sophie smiled, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Good. You chose wisely, little princess. And now, she is yours to cherish and protect." Alex stepped closer, offering a warm smile. "Lily, you're incredible. Truly." I felt a strange mixture of exhilaration, relief, and lingering vulnerability. The boy I had been was gone, fading into memory. The girl I had become was real, visible, powerful, and mine to be. As the sun dipped low, Casting golden light over the park, Sophie leaned close and whispered, "Little princess, this is only the beginning. Now, the world will see you, and you will see just how far her power can reach." I shivered, heart pounding. My reflection shimmered in the pond, delicate, beautiful, and undeniably real. The girl I had become was no longer a disguise. She was me. The moment I embraced her, the world shifted, and every day became a step into a life I never imagined, yet strangely craved. The morning sunlight spilled through the curtains, painting the room in warm gold. For the first time, I woke with a sense of ownership over myself. The reflection in the mirror was no longer someone imposed upon me. It was me, Lily. Sophie entered with her usual commanding grace, carrying a tray with breakfast. Her smile was soft but proud. "Good morning, little princess," she said. "Today, the world will see her fully, and you will begin living as her." I nodded, feeling a strange thrill pulse through me. The boy I had been was gone, leaving Lily to navigate a life full of new experiences, attention, and power. Sophie guided me through the morning routine with meticulous care. Hair perfectly curled, makeup flawless, outfit elegant. Every detail mattered, not for perfection alone, but for the confidence and presence it instilled. "Little princess," Sophie whispered, adjusting my dress, "remember, every movement, every glance, every smile, it communicates who she is. Be proud. Be visible. Be Lily." Stepping into the sunlight outside, I felt the city around me differently. Every passerby's glance, every murmur, every accidental stare felt amplified. I was no longer just a boy passing unnoticed. I was Lily, delicate, visible, and undeniably captivating. Walking through the park, familiar faces paused and stared. Some whispered. Some smiled. A few even tried to approach, curious about the new me. Alex appeared again, his eyes lighting up at the sight of me. "Lily, you're incredible. I mean, wow." I felt my chest tighten. Admiration, thrill, and a subtle rush of power surged through me. Being seen, being admired, feeling desired, it was intoxicating. Sophie's hand rested lightly on my back, a gentle reminder of control and guidance. "Little princess, every gaze, every whisper, it belongs to her now. Remember that." As days passed, I noticed subtle changes within myself. The embarrassment that had once gripped me began to fade. I started enjoying compliments, reveling in subtle attention, and discovering a power I hadn't known existed. At a cafe, a barista smiled warmly and said, "You have a lovely presence." I blushed, a delicate thrill rushing through me. Sophie, observing from across the room, whispered softly, "See, little princess? She thrives when acknowledged. That is her power." Alex became a constant presence, his admiration and warmth fostering both comfort and excitement. We explored the city together, attending art shows, walking through gardens, and sharing quiet moments on benches. Through him, I discovered that being Lily didn't mean losing emotional depth. I could feel, care, and connect, even as the world saw me as delicate and beautiful. Every day included moments in front of mirrors, in bathrooms, shop windows, or reflective surfaces, where I observed Lily fully. The girl I had become was not a mask. She was real, public, undeniable. Sophie's whispers often guided me. "Little princess, see her, feel her, protect her. This is who she is and who you are." I shivered. Every reflection, every glance, every acknowledgement from strangers reinforced a truth I hadn't expected. I belonged as Lily. Even in moments of subtle judgment, whispers from strangers, questioning glances, accidental recognition, I found strength. The girl in the reflection, the girl others admired, was resilient. Sophie's guidance, Alex's warmth, and the thrill of visibility intertwined to create a new sense of self-assuredness. Each day became a lesson in confidence, femininity, and emotional depth. As the sun dipped into the horizon, casting golden light over the city, Sophie whispered, "Little princess, the world has seen her. but soon as she will face her ultimate test. And only then will she know just how strong she truly is. I looked into my reflection in a shop window, delicate, beautiful, undeniably Lily. My chest tightened. The girl I had become was not just real. She was powerful, visible, and ready for whatever came next. Every eye was on me, and for the first time, I felt the full weight of being Lily. There was no turning back. The morning was bright, yet heavy with expectation. Sophie entered my room with a confident smile, holding a stunning outfit, a fitted, shimmering dress that hugged every curve, paired with elegant heels and sparkling accessories. Her eyes gleamed with anticipation. "Little princess," she said, her voice soft yet commanding, "today you will face the ultimate test. The world will see her fully, and you will need to show everyone just how strong and captivating she is." My chest tightened. The thrill and fear intertwined like twin serpents. Today wasn't just about public visibility. It was about proving that Lily was unstoppable, admired, and undeniably real. I stood before the mirror, tracing my face, my waist, my delicate curves. The reflection staring back was elegant, powerful, and beautiful, but my heart raced with fear and anticipation. Sophie approached, brushing a curl from my cheek. "Little princess, remember, confidence is everything. Every glance, every movement, every smile communicates power and presence. Show them who she truly is." I nodded, swallowing hard, trying to steady my trembling hands. The girl I had become felt both fragile and invincible, a paradox that twisted my chest with every breath. The venue was a luxurious hall filled with influential people, photographers, and observers. The chandeliers sparkled overhead, reflecting light off polished marble floors. My heels clicked sharply against the floor with every step. Sophie guided me through the crowd, her hand lightly on my back, her presence both comforting and commanding. Whispers followed me. Eyes lingered. Cameras flashed. Every glance, every murmur, every subtle gesture felt magnified. This was the stage where Lily would prove her existence, her confidence, and her undeniable presence to the world. As I entered the main hall, a wave of attention washed over me. People paused, whispered, admired. A few recognized me from the park and previous outings. Others were seeing me for the first time, eyes widening in awe. Alex stood nearby, his face a mixture of pride and admiration. "Lily, you're breathtaking," he whispered, his words almost lost in the hum of the crowd. Sophie's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. "Little princess, feel it. Every gaze, every thought, every whisper belongs to her now. Own it." A series of challenges awaited. I was asked to give a brief introduction, walk with grace across a small stage, and interact with influential observers. Every movement, every word, every smile had to reflect Lily, confident, delicate, poised, and undeniably feminine. The whispers, the stares, the flashes of cameras, everything pushed me to the edge of embarrassment and exhilaration. I felt a storm of fear and excitement, every heartbeat reminding me that there was no room for hesitation. A large reflective window caught my attention. The girl in the glass was radiant, poised, captivating. Every step, every glance, every gesture reinforced her presence, her power, her femininity. Sophie leaned close, whispering, "Little princess, she is real. She is powerful, and the world must see her." I swallowed hard, trembling slightly, but a deep part of me thrived on the recognition, the attention, the admiration. This was more than a test, it was affirmation. As I stood before the audience, words of praise and admiration reached me from all directions. Murmurs of awe, exclamations of beauty, and subtle glances of desire made my heart race and cheeks flush. The boy I had been felt like a distant memory. Every hesitation, every doubt, every fear of exposure was melting away, replaced by a deep, intoxicating confidence as Lily. Sophie's eyes met mine, gleaming with pride. "Little princess, you've done it. She is fully you. And now, the world knows it." As the event concluded, Sophie leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. Little princess, this is only the beginning. But soon someone will challenge her like never before. And you will need to face it, as Lily, without hesitation or fear. I shivered, chest tight, heart racing. My reflection shimmered in the hall's polished surfaces, delicate, beautiful, and undeniably powerful. Lily was no longer a creation. She was alive, visible, and ready for whatever the world would throw at her next. Every step I took felt lighter, yet purposeful. The world now saw me, and I finally saw myself as I truly was. The morning light poured into my room, soft and golden. For the first time, I woke without fear, hesitation, or doubt. Lily was no longer an experiment, a test, or a disguise. She was me, vibrant, visible, and undeniably real. Sophie entered with her usual grace, carrying a delicate tray of breakfast. Her eyes sparkled with pride, tinged with that familiar edge of control. "Little princess," she said, brushing a curl from my face, "today you will step fully into her world. No tests, no challenges, just her, fully alive." I smiled, a small but genuine curve of lips. The thrill of freedom, paired with the subtle thrill of Sophie's lingering guidance, pulsed through me. I prepared for the day with a sense of ritual that felt empowering rather than imposed. Every curl, every brush of eyeliner, every adjustment of dress and heels was a celebration of Lily. Standing before the mirror, I traced the lines of my face, the softness of my hair, the curves of my body. The reflection was radiant, delicate, and confident. Sophie's voice cut through my thoughts. "Little princess, see her. Own her. Protect her. She is yours fully." I nodded, swallowing hard. A subtle thrill ran through me, not fear this time, but anticipation, pride, and empowerment. Stepping outside, the city felt different. Every glance, every whisper, every acknowledgement reinforced my presence. I walked with poise, confidence, and a quiet allure that drew attention without effort. Alex appeared soon after, a warm smile on his face. "Lily, you look amazing. You're radiant." My chest tightened with a mix of pride, exhilaration, and subtle desire. No longer hiding, no longer uncertain, I began to relish the attention. Every glance, every compliment, every subtle admiration. Sophie's hand occasionally rested lightly on my back, a soft reminder that while I had fully embraced Lily, her influence and guidance were still part of my life. Throughout the day, I encountered various people, friends, strangers, acquaintances, all noticing the change. Whispers of admiration, subtle stares of awe, and polite compliments filled the air. I noticed a shift within myself. Embarrassment had faded, replaced by enjoyment and pride in being Lily. Every step in heels, every gesture, every smile reinforced a powerful new identity. Mirror moments in shop windows, reflective surfaces, and cafe mirrors reminded me of my growth. Lily was not a disguise. She was real, alive, and thriving. Alex and I spent quiet moments together, walking through gardens, talking in cafes, laughing and sharing stories. The girl I had become was delicate, admired, and visible, yet also capable of deep emotion, connection, and vulnerability. Through him, I realized that embracing Lily didn't mean losing myself emotionally. I could love, care, and connect, even as the world saw me as delicate, beautiful, and captivating. Later, standing before a reflective window, I gazed at the girl staring back. Every detail, hair, makeup, posture, expression, felt authentic. The subtle thrill of admiration, the pride of self-recognition, and the acceptance of my new identity intertwined beautifully. Sophie's soft voice reminded me, "Little princess, she is real. She is powerful. She is yours to cherish and protect." I shivered, heart racing, yet a profound calm settled within. Lily was me. The girl I had become was not a mask, not an experiment, not a phase. She was alive, real, and fully embraced. Days turned into weeks. Every moment, from casual strolls to social events, became an opportunity to celebrate and refine Lily. The girl in the mirror, the one Sophie had guided me to become, thrived in public, in private, and in my own heart. Alex's admiration remained steady, reinforcing my confidence. Sophie's gentle yet commanding presence continued to shape me subtly, but now not out of control, out of guidance and shared understanding. Every glance from strangers, every compliment, every whispered word became a reminder that I had fully embraced her. As the sun set, casting golden light over the city, I stood before a reflective window, chest tight, heart racing, yet calm. Sophie's whisper tickled my ear. "Little princess, the world has seen her, and now she belongs to it. But remember, the girl you are now will shape every moment from here on. Own it, cherish it, and never forget how powerful she truly is." I smiled softly, looking at the reflection, delicate, beautiful, empowered, and fully Lily. The girl I had become was no longer a creation, no longer a test. She was alive, unstoppable, and entirely mine. The world was hers, and I had finally become her.